Y'all. So welcome back to season 3 of the Semi-Americans podcast. We have a special guest, Tate Tucker, out here live from Santa Monica. Please welcome us.
Let's go. What up, y'all?
What it do, Tate?
Man, happy to be here. How you guys doing?
Nah, man, we're really happy to have you here.
For sure.
This has been long in the making as well, like months. I know we were talking about it
Yes.
the summer, but we're really happy.
I'm really geeked on this. You guys have great conversations on here. Oh, genuinely, I'm a big fan of every single second I've spent listening to the podcast. So honored to be on here.
Thank you.
And this episode will be one of the best for sure, just based off of the conversations
top.
we've had.
Sorry to the guests before. We're moving into the future now. I'm playing.
So, Tate, obviously we know you a little bit, but for our listeners, for our audience, could you tell them a little bit more about who is Tate Tucker?
All right, I'll just do this super quick because I feel like LA is very important to understand, like an origin of who someone is. All right, man. So I was born in like inland LA, like Van Nuys in the Valley. So kind of a wild time to be there. It was very like my whole neighborhood was really dope Mexican families. To this day, I still know a couple of them, see them, but it was a lot of crime. My dad's truck got stolen twice, like fence up, locks up, like. But we had a big place with all these fruit trees, like 23 fruit trees. So I have all these memories growing up, up until like 3, 4. Just climbing into a tangerine tree with my sister and just like reading books all day. Like it was like a Huck Finn origin, but I had terrible asthma because the air quality was just like, it was exhaust, and LA's air quality was like at peak lows at that time. Like it's gotten better since, but the emissions and everything was like headed towards China trajectory. And so I had just like horrific asthma, like hospitalized asthma. My sister did as well. So we consolidated the like huge crib with the acre of land to like little apartment in Santa Monica. And that was the big fundamental shift in like Tate. I was like from this little sickly like tree climbing kid to like full rocket power. Like that was, my life was forever like just so different. So it was a very like creative upbringing. I went to an alternative school from that point on. I never had grades until high school. It was very hippie-like, like all of the full spectrum of two parents who like ran away from their traumatizing Midwest upbringings and were just like, we're going to try everything that wasn't tried on us. So that's kind of like the birth of Tate, with an older sister, 3 years older than me, who's super creative, spends her room, like all of her days and her nights in her room with like clay, building worlds, painting, like the most creative, smart person ever. To this day, like the smartest person I know, always learning, couldn't smoke weed, so she never lost brain cells, like remembers every single detail of life. Like just, so it was such a cool environment. So I really just had my family as like my main world always. That was how I navigated things. It was colorful. It was open. It was honest. We experienced all the racism of an interracial family when it was a novel concept. And that's kind of Tate. And so most of that time I'm really creative. I'm a writer. I'm a comic book maker. I'm very like creative. And then I go into a traditional schooling system and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not chubby no more. I got a 6-pack. I'm at a few thousand person high school after being with the same 200 people for like 8 years. I am geeked. And so I kind of abandoned a lot of those things that were the formative child Tate to kind of choose like who I wanted to be. You know, you make these fundamental decisions growing up that like should be so not our responsibility. You know, like who do you want to be at college? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who do you want to be in high school? Do you want to be a band geek? Do you want to be I wanted to be like popular. I wanted to just be with girls were my priority and success was my priority. So I seemed like an athlete. And I was like, an athlete can't be spending 6 hours a day, like drumming with all those nerds, like in the field when all the cheerleaders are over here. So that was like a big pivot. I was kind of like, I threw the artist identity away and kind of walked that route. You know, I was like with the cool kids. I sat at it was like a very segregated type of school, even though it was really integrated. It was like, you self-segregate. It was like all the vatos were over here, all the over here, all the football teams over here, and then we had this area called Disneyland where all the like popular-ish rich kids were, and that was kind of where I like circulated through all of it from the kids on like lunch, like, you know, who had to go get it through the school to like the kids at the basketball court, the nerdy anime black kids who just played basketball, like, and played Yu-Gi-Oh and shit. Like every single, I chill with the staff. I really loved just experiencing all different types of people. So I feel like we can circle back on that with the travel thing, because at a certain point you reach a pinnacle with how much you can experience that's new. I started to see what life was going to be like. And immediately it was so geeked to see the two kids who got into Georgetown were who they were. And so it was weird, but in a way, I just felt like all life was telling me was hang out with the nerds, follow your inner nerddom, and like roll into the sunset. Like foreign service is calling you. And so like I just ran with Georgetown. So it's just a really interesting experience. My dad was like, he's not going to be raised in the hood. I'm going to like give him such a cool upbringing, see what kind of Lenny Kravitz creation I can make out here. So respect to him for that. And so Georgetown was crazy. By my first day, I skipped one of my 3 like absences for my Problem of God philosophy class to go join my good friend Danny in his hip hop class, his sociology of hip hop class with Professor Michael Eric Dyson. I come in that day and he asked me to freestyle in front of like 70 people in a lecture in a school where I'm trying to really assimilate. So fast forward, we're walking out of class and Dyson, meanwhile, who's like a legend in my household, like legitimately my dad is freaking out, even knowing I'm potentially going to take a class with him. I'm walking with him to go to the local sandwich spot, Wisey's, and he's like, man, I really liked what you were saying in there. I really liked what you're doing. I want you to come back, Nick. Can you come back to the next class? Like, I got a friend coming in, and Lupe, I want you to rap for Lupe. And Lupe came, and it was like crazy. You know, I rapped for him and got on World Star Hip Hop, and like the drug of all of that just changed my whole life. Forever, I checked out. That was the moment I checked out. I went from like Dean's List to literally just scraping by, transferred out of SFS into English, which shout out because that was always my calling. But wow, rocked me. I was touring. I was doing every single event on campus. So this whole time, I'm like more insinuated into Georgetown than probably anyone there, while being such a wild, raging party animal, spending weekends in like New York, Connecticut, like all this. It was a crazy experience. Like I really feel like I've been a professional artist in a lot of ways for like 15 years almost. It's crazy. Like getting paid for these things, like missing so many minimum absences, but being able to say like I'm financially supporting myself, like pursuing something. Here's an article. Here's a newspaper. Like, and getting that honored. Like it was just I was in a different zone right there. And to have it finding me in this environment that was so depriving, like of anything creative, of who I was, of my style. It was a wild process because the art wasn't there. But it's wild. I had to go to community college and like finish classes, living at home. This is the whole new chapter. My friends are getting $10,000 bonuses, traveling in the summer. I'm broke. Like, what am I doing? I'm working at a sneaker store. My dad gets cancer. It's a small ass place. It's crazy. I picked to do music. Like I didn't choose to be like a banker and support my family. And like, who knows how it would have gone if I had a little more money to try certain things that we weren't able to try. It was a terrible time. You go through all this stuff for 4 years and you feel like the world's your oyster because that's the energy that's next to you. And then it's just pulled and reality's there. And it was
Resilient with all of this. Like, I mean, this, it's one thing to deal with one thing at a time, but
right.
When everything is happening at once, how do you stay sane? Because the music itself is a reflection probably of where you are at that time.
Honestly, like I wasn't doing probably the healthiest job of it at that point. Like I was still, I don't think I stopped moving. There was just so much I wanted to prove to so many people, but mostly my dad, that I just was like, I've never, to this day, it's like, I tell people it was like the worst drug to come off, like stopping that flow state. Cause I had reassigned my purpose to live for him. So I'm still finding like a deeper why beyond like wanting to show somebody who gave his whole life to see me thrive, like not get to see me fully go there. So anyways, that's for another day, but that was like a wild chapter, bro. But
do you think like all these like life formative processes had an influence on like how you make music and like, how you go through that creative process?
100%. Because like the entire time this is all happening, like that's the therapy through line is like constant creation.
So music is like music is like where you're putting all of this like frustration.
All of it. Every single time I'm proud of something, just like so like I'm in there, not even like I'm being like ruthless, like my friends can tell you how violently meticulous I was in this era. Like abusively so, because I wanted to come home every night and show it to my dad.
Mm.
And so that was where I was at. Like probably in that era of like those first 3 years, I made like 500 songs. 500
Wow.
at least, and maybe released like 8. So it's like you could see the ratio of therapy versus like commerce in that era. But you learn a lot. A lot of that shit was terrible, and we listen to it all the time. We find one thing we love, we find a million things that we're so happy that we kept in the shadows. But into then,
Hey, growing up in an interracial household, your father's black, and what's your mother's background?
okay, Swiss, German,
Okay.
some Native American. I think it's Seminole. Yeah. And then like tracing back to like Switzerland, it was she like is from like an Amish subsect, like the Mennonites. So they were persecuted and ended up in the Midwest via boats and such. Yeah. So and it's just great. Yeah. She was raised in a cult. Dad was raised in crazy hood in Detroit. Very like Lutheran household. It's just both left and didn't come back.
Did you? I'm here. We're the Semi-Americans podcast. Both Daniel and I. We both have parents that are from other countries.
Yeah.
Migrated to the U.S. So for us, we feel like we're in between two worlds in terms of culture.
Right.
With you having American parents, but them being of different races, what was that like? Did you ever feel like you were more in tune with one side than the other? Like, what was that experience like?
Like I honestly, like the real answer is for a while I wasn't. Like for a really long time, like there were events like one young event, that was when we were still in the valley, where we didn't get served, mom got served, waitress, it was Marie Callender's. Waitress made it very clear why that we ain't getting the food. Mom was hot. Like, we were perceptive of it. The biggest thing I think that wore on my mom was like the nanny comment always. Like, it was just like those subtle things, like the perpetrating of doing my sister's hair, like caught between worlds. It was sort of like, at this point we're here, what do you expect us to do? Like hit undo? Like, what do you expect me to do? Like existing right here. So my attitude was very much like my idols were just, I grew up with Lenny Kravitz, like someone I felt was so me, so between worlds and so like comfortable in who he was. And I gravitated towards him from like 4. I was singing his songs like I was him. He's really why I started to like love music. And it was just a perfect time, I think, where it wasn't that crazy, like. But then as you get older, you start to see how other people navigate the issues, and you start to see the unhealthiness of how they were introduced to those things. And those things start to intersect with a very fiery me. And that was really the toughest part. I think Georgetown era in that time of life was the hardest for me, because I don't listen to shit. Somebody hits me in the head, I think twice. And so that was really where my head, I was in so many scraps, and like, I was so incensed that LA was the bubble that I hoped it wasn't. And, I had an instance in Georgetown my junior year, I believe it was, or sophomore year. And I was with my good friend, who I went to high school with, coming back from, I don't know if it's a party or something. And we get like rolled on. We're intersecting this group of like just brutishly big, like linemen, like football alum linemen, Southern. Like, it was like the weirdest. I didn't know we had that demographic in Georgetown, to be honest. And like it was just some weird shit. They made a weird comment about me like turning the school into like Jay-Z universe, something weird, like some weird, oh, you rap, blah, blah, like unnecessary. Like, I was just in the Hoya, just looking for something. And I was like, how the did you ever go here? Like, that's so like, you're an idiot. Like, you're like, just this conversion happens. And my homie, who's the softest dude in the world, he's so disgusted by like their side and what's implied. He pushes them. We're about to scrap with like big linemen. And then right when I'm like, I'm about to get like lynched. Like, this is so wild. Like, you should have seen just the vitriol that he said the stuff with. It was so clear. And all these campus police converge. They're like all black. One of them is this woman who is so amazing. She always had my back. And they were screwed. They were banned from campus for a few years. And I was bawling. I was bawling, bro. I was like gagging. Like I had never experienced anything like it. And I stayed up all night filling out an application to USC. I called my dad, and he essentially is the same thing as when I called freshman year and said I'm dropping out to be a musician. He said, you know, he's just going to be another nigga with no degree trying to be a rapper or an actor, which was fair. And this time he said, you're just going to encounter the same, you know, and it's going to hurt a lot more when you experience it in your hometown. So why don't you go stick this out and learn how to not let your circumstances define you? Not what I wanted to hear, bro.
Do you think it was something that you needed to hear?
Oh, 100%, bro. Because I was like, I was really trying to just have like a period where I could say, fuck it. You know, like I know I'm in somewhere new. I'm going to burn this shit to the ground and like someone's going to catch this wrath like one time. It was not like a healthy, like, I'm over it. It was very like toxic, you know, like angry. Yeah. So he just always, he just knew, he just knew it all. I missed that fool a lot because it was always the right thing to hear, but I had him for like the most fiery times and reactive times of my life. But just like all those things, bro, it never even crossed my mind, that type of objectification or treatment on top of the way that I was being educated. Like, I felt like the whole thing was just this racist scam. Like, I felt really, really jarred by a lot of the experiences from Georgetown, academically and socially, but I would say still net positive. But the race stuff and the subtle race stuff, you know, it's just so hard to actually articulate. You just go there, you experience it, you feel it, and you kind of reflect on it.
Do you feel like that mostly come from one side? I mean, it sounds like the experiences that you've had that were negative were often in the circumstance where you're around white people.
Yeah.
Have you faced, you know, this something similar or a different type of, hey, you're not accepted here from, you know, from the other side?
Bro, that's a great freaking question, because this whole time, my first friends are all black at Georgetown Online. About to da-da-da. My roommate happens to just be hooked up for me in LA, so I'm deathly fearful of a bad roommate. So my homie on my team, who happens to be like my richest, you know, friend, but he's just my friend. Like, he's my best friend on my basketball team. He knows a guy. He happens to be extremely like from a different lifestyle too. My voyeur into the school happens to just be a vantage point I would never have seen in my life. And so that defined a lot of my experiences, because I was in the group that had to go to the 21 plus places starting freshman year. So the barrier to entry was an expensive idea, it was an expensive lifestyle, it was an expensive, accessible group that a lot of black people just, first of all, didn't even have the choice to make at Georgetown in my year. I'm telling you, the year after, 2 years after, there's kids, Marcus Bird, all these kids, they had these crazy collectives. I was like, what the hell was admissions doing? They let in some of the greatest black kids, bro. Like, but I don't know what it was, but it feels like it was so stratified. And I chose experiences. Like, I want to see a jet. I want to see this. Like, I want to experience people who are so advanced. Like, they were like little adults. Like, my world happened to be white, but it wasn't what I was searching for. So this whole time, there was so much, I could feel there's the resentment of my black friends. I could feel like, I just didn't feel like, I want to go to a house party. Like, why? A house party at all high school. I want to go see this exclusive thing and run into pro athletes. I want to be where the Kobe is. Like, Kobe's in town. My homie's with him in the bar. Got the fake, like, what? I want to do that stuff. Like, so inherently, the experience was very, like, pushed from both sides, because I didn't feel like the people were authentic the whole time that I was partying with and being with. So JP is like my realist, like, spirit homie this whole time. It's like I'm living this, like, this completely projected life to get inspiration from for art, but that person isn't me. I'm slowly detaching from the person that all these people were attached to. So it's like a wild process. And a lot of that is because I felt very, very nomadic, like, just between cultures, between classes. Like, it was just a wild. I think I don't know. I just started to, like, lean into what was making me insecure and just start to try to focus on the things that were making me confident and feel unique. Yeah.
So, like, kind of listening to your music now,
Yeah.
it seems like, honestly, like, now that I have somewhat of a backstory of
Yeah.
you, right, up until like college at least, it seems like a lot of those experiences are kind of reflected on your music, right? And that's like what I'm hearing.
Totally.
Is that like what you're trying? So, what are you trying to do with like your creative works, and like how are you trying to get across the message?
Yeah. I mean, the imprint that I have that I'm just gonna keep developing is called Sunshine. And the whole notion of it is, I think I told you guys this, something my dad used to say to me was, I don't call you son because you're mine. I call you son because you shine. And it was just like dope. Like I always loved it. I always felt real dope. Like it was just he said a lot of corny shit, but that was always one I really liked. And I noticed, he said what?
That's where you get the bars from.
Yeah, man. Freddie had bars. And, I like looked back and he was really a surrogate father figure for a lot of people growing up, you know, and I got real lucky to even have the light I got from him. And so most of what I'm doing moving forward, all the singles I've been releasing have been really fun. You know, I'm just like showing the process again, showing the craft again, just sharpening the tools, you know, slowly letting people back into the world. But it's not a heavy push right now. The stuff that
Tate,
I'm. Yep.
What songs you got? You got to let the people know because you know we want the listeners to get on Spotify, get the streams up.
Well,
you know, all the
as of last week, you know, we have the Inhaler freestyle up on Spotify right now. But coming out, I don't know if it's going to be out. It'll probably be out by the time this is live. This ain't. Will be worldwide, baby. It's a banger. It's a slap. I'm showing versatility. I'm showing bars. I'm showing, oh man, we got trumpet solos. We got 3 continents involved. We going crazy.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. Actually, we got to early listen because, you know, we're VIP with Tate. So we got to early listen. Daniel we barely got the episode started. Daniel wouldn't stop dancing. I was like, hey, Daniel, we got to get the.
Never stops dancing, bro.
It's a banger.
It is a banger.
It's a banger,
for real. Yeah, look at it.
Hey. But yeah, no. What I was saying to get back to your point right quick though is the projects that I have. Those are all meant to really digest some heavier stuff, you know. And those are meditating on things that only me at this age can process. Like sit down, 25-year-old Tuck. Sit down, 20-year-old Tuck. Sit down, 16-year-old Tuck, and listen to like game, you know what I mean? Listen to pain, listen to mistakes you don't have to make, and just at least like listen to this, you know, and feel a little bit seen. So it's like, it's a little more vulnerable, but just, you know, from the sharing I've done with people whose opinions that are just way too honest, it seems to be resonating in a way that the fun stuff and the light stuff just can't. So the goal really is to just connect with people in a way where even if it's like 100 people, like if I get 100 people over the course of a really like a rollout and they're like, bro, I have shit on reap. This shit is getting me through. If I get one of those, bro, I'm probably good. But if like 100 would be really dope, 10 would be I. That's the goal more. It's just to slowly get into some people's hearts because I feel like I can really help navigate certain things. I get the blessing of deconstructing myself every day, sitting here and examining, overthinking, experiencing, you know, like getting the palate cleansed. But my job is really to like navigate these phases. I've seen a lot of them with my generation already. And I'm pretty on the nose with what we're going through. While a lot of us are medicated through it or working through it, you know, like eating disorder through it, sleep disorder through it, you know what I mean? Like debt cycle through, like whatever it is, like while not processing it, like I'm just trying to do all those same mistakes while thinking about it and creating an active conversation for us. Cause I don't want to be like the boomers. I don't want to be like people who aren't like healing themselves as we're moving along. I feel like this is what great art's supposed to do. It's supposed to like mark us, check us, keep us informed of where those minds were at those times, those crazy political times. Who was thinking for us? Was everyone mumble rapping? Was everyone pacifying? Or are there some people who were ingratiating themselves in an authentic way and helping to write that divisive course that's so easy to fall into? So like if I could slowly be on the path of the ladder, you know, that'd be really cool. That's the real goal. I went into foreign service initially, that trajectory, to be able to do the same kinds of things that I've already been able to do and hope to do at a bigger scale in music. That's always been the goal, is to spread love in a way that registers. I've learned how to do it in a not corny way. I've learned how to do it in a pretty corny way. I'm just trying to do it in a very accessible way that blurs the lines of like cool enough to get to your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool enough to stay relevant so we can have a conversation.
So Tate, one of the themes that you and I have discussed when it comes to your musical creative process is this theme of loyalty. And I was hoping you could get into that a little bit more, because I know you've done a lot of collaborations with a bunch of different artists from all over the world.
Yeah.
And this theme of loyalty comes up a lot.
Yeah, I felt like it was important to address this one because I've been on both sides of like loving and hating collaboration. And I wanted to address loyalty because I've been on both sides of that as well, on this journey, especially in music, in a lot of ways. And it's important to have like a healthy skepticism of letting people in, when you're getting vulnerable. But there's a fine line of getting stuck in complacency and fear of being uncomfortable. And so that's a line like I constantly walked as I was getting into the industry. And I was really open, really, really open with where I was going, how I was writing. I was really trying to get into every single room I could. But I had an experience with a good friend of mine who's no longer in music, mostly because of this experience. And it was a big song. He played the primary melody on this big song, like life-changing money, like millions of dollars type money at 22. Didn't get the credit. Didn't get a lick of money. They kind of G'd him out of it by saying he was a work for hire and paid by staying at said big EDM producer's home at the time. And they sent his ass back to Canada. And I really shut down off that. That was like, we had like a kind of internal, like, we're either all doing this together or we're just going to fail. There's too many exploitative people here. And for like 4 years, I like shut out a lot of good opportunities. So it was, I call it like the myth of loyalty. And it's like, it's so important to have your people, your day ones, your vetters, and keep that ecosystem healthy, bacteria fighting, like lysosomes in your immune system of friends and professional engagements and such. But anyways, I was saying no to a lot of stuff, and I realized in fighting, getting taken advantage of, I was closing a lot of doors. And in this last 3-4 years, especially since leaving the label, I went to the label and pretty much said no to everything because deep down, I think I hated the idea of building something I couldn't participate in. It f***ing pissed me off. I was so mad. Like, my biggest dreams would have been owned by someone who didn't give a f*** about me. So now that we're in this new chapter, I'm open to collaborate. I have things to give away. I went from 100%, like 6%, to 100% again. I'm cool keeping 50. I'm so cool keeping 60. I'm cool at times keeping 20. And when you change your concept of sharing and vulnerability and teamwork and all of that, it becomes a whole different ballgame. So like collaborative tuck is like a new chapter in life. And it's been the best time ever because I have this, I've created a flow. And leaving control, I can specialize now in the things I do really well. And I can let this dude, without looking, I can throw him a no look now. And that's the trust. It's crazy what you learn and how like you feel so free. I went to a session, first time I've worked with this artist a week ago, Anna Kova from Paris. She's so crazy dope, like so talented you wouldn't believe it. Like sings and it's like she's mixed live, but she raps and she speaks 3 languages and she dances and she's dancing the whole time with her hoodie and her like, but it's like she's like a little Smino in this French body. It just doesn't make sense. It's like crazy. And so I come in and I'm a little intimidated, but I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? It's like the homies, all these musicians. It's this like commune vibe. I have been opened by this whole lifestyle of like, put your hat, take like you're just part of this bigger picture. So I'm sitting down, I'm listening. The track's going from English to French. I don't know if there was going to be Portuguese, but before it could happen, I was like, you know what? I feel the vibes. I'm going to write a like bilingual verse that's like mostly Spanish with a little bit of English, like, and have it done by the time anyone wonders if I'm going to jump on this and has that awkward moment. I've learned from all these sessions. Why are you here? You show up and you just party, you have fun, you don't think about it, right? So by the time it inevitably happens, I'm sitting over here. They're like, yo, you ready? It's like, yes. Like they knew, like all the time, it was like this unspoken thing. And this is years, dude. I'm talking years of experience. Like the first session, I probably had to wait till someone was like, are you going to do something? Like I had to wait until hours to feel like, they're like, what was that? What you doing over there? They're like, sing it, like hum it, like what you know? And to get here, it's incredible the things you're able to do. How big a sound can be. I can hear something that's like La La Land and get it done now. Like I can really compose just because I opened up those doors. Another great example, prime example of collaboration is this is the song that bridged me back into music. I was at the crossroads during pandemic. Do I quit? Like there's nothing going on. I'm building towards this moment. My cousin is a singer and a vocal coach, right? And she was incredible. She was like writing big hits. She was going crazy. Right when she's peaking, her value, it's like getting drafted, right? You build up to go first round and the league has a lockout. Maybe you blow your knee out and it's over. Bad roll of the dice. I think it was 2008. Recession, no deals, no anything. She missed her wave. Over. She's just a vocal, like just totally different life. She was on top of the world, writing hit songs all over Europe, going, I'm about to go get fed into the machine and take off in 2007. World crushes. Never again. Industry totally changes. She's too old. So I'm here off my first release. I'm not feeling too great about with my label, dragging my feet because I have no inspiration. And right as I find my wave, I'm in New York. I'm thriving. I'm with Bobby Wooten. I'm meeting David Byrne. I'm meeting celebrities. I'm making music. I'm in the zone. COVID. And the homie Lyle, great story too. I've known him since Georgetown. Pushed the kid away forever. And he's always just been so persistent. And now it's like my favorite person in the world to work with. He brings so much value everywhere he goes and he's a genius. And so he pushes me to start creating over pandemic. And it's crazy even getting out of your apartment at that phase, right? Like,
we're out here at the grocery store, you know. Everything.
I'm in a hazmat. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to go cook up, I brought like all my snacks. I had all my sanity, but like slowly it was me, him, and Kirk locking in. It was bringing me sanity, bro. I feel like I jumped the gun on recovering from COVID just off having a neighborhood that was fully tested because we had a distribution center being run by my neighbor and those sessions. So I'm on the verge. I just had the talk with my label. You know, I need something to happen. I need something to happen. I don't have an advance. I can't live. I don't have a job. I have no money. Like, panicking. Not a good place to come for like what the label's going to do. Label, not going to budge because it's a pandemic, right? Like conglomerates aren't going to pivot because he's having a hard day. So after realizing that, getting the talk, getting blessed with getting out of the deal, and then it actually happening, I thought about quitting. It's what it felt like. I felt like I left and I left and I was like, what did I just do? I thought I was being empowered. What did I do? Like that was my whole, if I was going to fall, they needed me to succeed. Like I just f***ed up. Like, whoa. And that imposter syndrome, the highest ever been in my life. Gained weight, lost the sense of who I was. Like, holy shit. So these sessions, Lyle, yeah, that's cool. Dude, yeah, keep doing that. Yeah, like, dude, really looking back, like, he literally coached me into believing in myself again. And that shit caught fire, and I was back to being the core of it. And then Kurt caught fire. He's in the craziest zone. It was like we all caught fire, and it kept building. So the first song that really set it off, it was just nuts. Like, the beginning of the song is literally Lyle for hours trying to play this like an old school sample, like boom, like the beginning of the song is hours of work off top. The drums are on some crazy swingy stuff off Kirk. We're just vibing. This is like almost 10 hours just to compose the bare bones of this thing. And the writing, like the first verse is all freestyle. This ain't this ain't LA, this ain't, it's just me. It's just all these words where I'm just saying what it's not. You know, I'm like, I'm not this, and this ain't. I'm trying to separate. I'm feeling good again. It's the first time in my mind, my subconscious, because when I freestyle, it's all coming from there. It's like, you that dude again. So I was like, I can't not drop this. I don't think it's the greatest thing I'll ever make, but it's so rambunctiously like, it's like my optimism coming back. So we're like, dude, this needs to explode. And so it's a cross-continental collaboration now on the production. Ankit is involved. Ankit is this incredible producer in the UK. He's touching a lot of great projects out there. A lot of his stuff's ending up in cool commercials, cool stuff. He and Lau have composed music together, scored movies together. So he's involved in this now. His taste, the swing. Actually, he might have been on the drums. I need to circle back on that one. Regardless, that threesome is touching this. And then another Georgetown cat, Joe Pepe, who has been in Sao Paulo playing horns, like building community, just being an awesome human. We just ran into someone who saw him performing on the street out there. Crazy. He's going nuts on the horns. He throws down a crazy solo at the end of this thing from Brazil. Like, the internet's wild. So in like a week, we're sitting here like, what? The world is not outside, but we felt so outside. So that's just like, just some of the glimpses into like the magic of when you think outside yourself, you start to think outside of the lines, you start to see what's really possible. And I learned a lot from that, man. I wasn't very collaborative at Georgetown. I was very like group project. I'm either going to do all the work or Becky can take me to an A. Like, I never liked teamwork outside of sports. It just wasn't my thing.
You had collaborators from the US, UK, and Brazil in order to make this single.
Mm-hmm. Three continents ruled, boy. I might even bring on an Australian to distribute it. Yeah, man. I really do want to just increasingly expand like the global vibe. So for real, I'm really trying to like ramp up the Spanish again, ramp up just like feeling connected to more than what's going on here. Cause this, man, like I've been listening to Nigerian music for like a minute, but like it's so cool to just see that they were at All-Star Weekend. Like it's a big thing right now. It's a big world. Like, come on, man.
So with this new collaboration effort, and like, this new brand of you, right? Almost. What do you think you're gonna take into like the industry moving forward? Like, what is your vision for it, and like where do you see artists moving towards?
There's things that I'm like unsure of, like NFTs and like Web3 and like the sustainability of those kind of efforts. But I think in general, the ball is slowly being pushed into the creator's hand, like more and more. And it's even the conversations I'm having now, it's just so liberating to be talking about potentially 1 song deals, 2 song deals, 1 album deals before I give you a long-term commitment, and the origins of the music industry, which is all run by the mafia, all payola, right? So it's all manipulated. It's not for the artist. The deals are so predatory. It's laughable. We move into a more transparent era, but whatever. And now we're really in a crazy era where like the dude with face tats is walking in and getting 50% profit split deals with the major labels. Russ is walking in and getting 50% profit splits, keeping his ownership, leaving the deal. I make $3 million a month off my royalty. We're seeing, this is NBA. This is you money. This is players union. We have the power. What are you doing in those ivory towers? I was in there for 3 years and they couldn't magically change anything for me. And the more we realize that and get spit out and work together and realize people don't care, people are demanding real stuff more. Kids want real shit. Like, as much as they want to vape angel fairy dust and kill their lungs digitally, they want real shit musically. They want real instruments. They want real quality. So all of that, I just was like, long story short, type shit. Pow.
Hey, I gotta ask you this question because this is a question we're I guess you'd say it's like the theme of our podcast or our season. Yeah. Even in our lives. What is peace for you? What is peace for Tate Tucker?
It's a scene. It's a scene for me. I realize in these later years, these elder years of young life. That's a wild way to put it.
You said elder years of a young life.
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. It's me, my lady, our dog, a mountain, like a few acres, some guns, all my fruit trees, like a food forest, and the ocean, like a couple miles that way, and like it's just completely off the grid. Like that's like peace. Like I wake up with the sun, I sleep with the moon, I eat seasonally, I look 30 until I'm 80. People come to me for wisdom, and I'm overflowing with joy and peace and equilibrium, so I can give it to them. I travel everywhere I please. I speak 4 languages by the time I die. It's like that, all of that in one scene with like a breeze, in shorts, the sun grazing me, like speckled through the trees that are bearing fruit type shit. That's peace. That creating that existence, and then a studio completely away from that with the same view where nobody can bother me. All of that is peace for me. For real. That is like, that's black boy joy at 5 billion. Nobody in the world could be more optimally happy than me in that scenario. So that's like what I'm working towards on this 2.0 journey. I have a clearer vision of that and how I want to foster that scope of imagination for young kids who look like me. So
that's awesome.
That's peace.
Man. That's the answer only Tate could give. Really, I don't think any other person would give you a similar answer. So,
what do you mean? What do you have to look forward to with
the music, man? What do you
with me?
With the music, I've been trying to get Tate out here. I told him I'm gonna try. Hey, I want to put together a show and maybe have him, perform out in DC.
Bro, we would bring the band out. We'll bring the band out. We'll do a real show thing.
Yeah, we got to do it right. But for the audience, man, like
what to look forward to?
Yeah,
I'm ramping up, bro. So it's happening slowly. So like we're dropping every month. That's happening. There's not going to be 1 month this year you won't hear Tate Tucker. And if that happens, you'll get 2 the next month. Mm-hmm. But this one coming up on Thursday, I'm really excited about. It's This Ain't. You guys heard it. Jazzy. I really feel like now everybody's trying to be a rock star because rock is so cool. And we make rock like it's nothing because we all started making rock before rap. So we have dope rock on the way. But I wanted to remind people like I really rap. Yeah. Like I really rap. I'm very experimental. So we're just going to start like we have this, and then I'm working on finishing up a couple of songs that are like 2-in-1s. You know what I mean? So like ramping the imagination up towards, this isn't just a Tate throwaway. This is like 2 sounds, like almost like a little EP in one, a little sampler of like more production quality, a little more of a journey, a little more of a world. And a couple of those, see how those respond. We're getting very experimental with visuals. We're trying to do more stuff in-house. So we got the cameras going, we got the in-studio going. So we're just trying to like create the process as much as possible. So that's like the next few months. And then summer, we dropping big boy music videos. We're going hard. We're trying. I mean, if things go according to plan, like we might have a project in fall. Yeah. We might. I hope so. And we'll definitely be doing a show this summer in LA. So that's about it. Okay. Other than that, I'm not over promising. That's like, we have a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but that's every single month. I'm going to be dropping a freestyle at least every 2 weeks on Instagram and everything else. So we're just going to keep it rocking, man. Trying to have fun, trying to just touch a lot of projects. And yeah, man.
Where can they reach you at, Tate? On Instagram, what's your handle?
Yup, it's Tate. YUPITSTATE. Or
any
as
other
most
people.
I was gonna say most people on 2K they think I'm Yuppie State, so you could also remember me as Yuppie State. And then Twitter, same thing. And then website. By the time y'all see this, the website will be popping. So TateTucker.com will be probably the easiest way.
And wrapping up, I want to thank Tate for joining us on this podcast. We had a great conversation, talking about his journey and processes and what inspires him and everything. And be on the lookout for his new single, This Ain't, dropping March 16th.
Make sure you go stream that. Yeah. Make sure you go.
Put it on a playlist. Put it on loop.
There you
On
go.
loop, baby.
Exactly.
Stream farm.
Get the numbers up.
Leave it on when you're sleeping on no volume.
Yeah.
Break the algorithm.
I like that. Yeah. So thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you to our listeners. Continue to support us. Continue to support Tate. And we really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Sorry for talking so much. Love you guys.
Nah, you're good. We love you too, man. The Semi-Americans Podcast, Season 3, signing off.
What's up?
Living it great, yeah.
I feel like it's 2020 to really initiate the dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Hit them with a little bit of, yeah, what's up, yeah. Hey, oh yeah, babe, what's up, yeah, woo. Damn, hey, what's up, hey. Goddamn, girl, hey, oh yeah, what's up, hey, yeah, what's up, yeah, oh goddamn, what's up, hey, what's up, yeah, what's up, hey, yeah, oh yeah, what's up, yeah, what's yeah, what's up, yeah, what's up, yeah, what's up, yeah, oh yeah, what's up, yeah, hello, hey, yeah, nice to meet you. Personality with some features on it, damn, shit, educated. You see my smooth game, I see you speculated hard, thinking, always making shit hard. Black sky, bright stars, half pipe ride hard. Fast line, my heart swole, past flames and barcodes. Me dancing in the moonlight, only time you get starstruck. I know stress, you take it too hard, huh? Why you stressing the bullshit? Could be fixing the hard stuff. There I go trying to start stuff. Everybody need good love, especially when they act up. I won't back up, I just, I won't run away, nah. I'm just moving on the interstate right now, yeah. Ain't no case, nah, yeah. See you in another day, yeah, what's up, yeah. Ooh, yeah, what's up, yeah, what's up, yeah. Damn, babe, ooh, yeah, what's up, hey, what's up, oh, yeah, what's up, yeah. Ooh, yeah, what's up, yeah, what's up, yeah, ooh, yeah, what's up, yeah. Ooh, yeah, Bonnie Clyde, no trust, yeah, live life for the brush, yeah. Look at other niggas with disgust, yeah. Been a cool 5, still fuck you like a crush, yeah. Cruising buck 10 by the ocean. Jeter J's in rotation. Puff pass, no Jokic. Trap music, no slow shit. Weed over mimosas. Quarter ounces, your dosage. You brought sexy back like it's 06. Shit, yeah. So what's up? Tryna get in touch with this deeper stuff. Yeah, you built me up. Yeah. Guess that means you worth it in such and such. Ooh, yeah, what's up, yeah, what they call, yeah, what's up, yeah, shit, we could call it, yeah, what's up, yeah, oh yeah, what's up, 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 yeah, what's up, hey, what's up, hey, what's up, hi, what's up, hey, talk to me nice, hey, what's up, hey, shut up when you talk to me, yeah, whoa, shut up, you talk to me tough, shut up, you talk to me rough, like when you talk to me rough, you right, tell me what's up, yeah.
You gotta tell me what's up. You gotta tell me what's up.